The destruction in Beirut's southern suburbs is so extensive it's taken 2 days to locate the body of the Hezbollah leader. In little more than a week, the powerful militant group has seen its leader assassinated, along with much of its command structure and its communication network smashed. Some of the excavation sites show the depths the emergency teams have had to go to in their recovery operation, but its loyalists remain defiant.
This is a point of pride for us. We're steadfast and our morale is high.
And the Israeli forces are still going, with airstrikes in the capital, the south and east. Beirut's on tenterhooks, with the country bracing for a possible Israeli ground invasion as Hezbollah scrambles to reorganize. This is the man thought most likely to take over as the new Hezbollah leader. He's Hassan Nasrallah. We last saw him giving the eulogy at the funerals for some of those killed in the booby-trap pager explosions. He said then, "We're a people who cannot be defeated." The funerals were disrupted when the Hezbollah walkie-talkies started exploding. We were there as chaos erupted for a second day. Being caught up in experiences like these is likely to have cemented Safieddin's already hardline approach. Lebanon's already struggling to cope with a substantial humanitarian crisis as people try to flee the airstrikes. The Lebanese Prime Minister has called this an unprecedented movement of people, the largest in Lebanon's history, with an estimated 1 million people now displaced or impacted.
The situation is really bad, really bad. We had to leave our house and now we're just living rough here. I don't have the words to describe how bad it is.
The Lebanese Prime Minister called an emergency cabinet meeting with the country's rising death toll and a surging need for aid top of his agenda. They're appealing for outside humanitarian help as a matter of urgency. And the man in charge of his disaster management denounced the Israeli tactics of ordering people to evacuate before bombing.
This is the professionalization of genocide. They make it professional by sending messages. But this is a genocidal act against civilian people. There are around 1,600 people were killed in the last few days. So this is just showing that they are professional by sending messages or tweets, but actually it's still genocidal.
But leaving their homes on Israeli orders doesn't guarantee safety, as those running are finding out. Baby Allah is little more than 3 weeks old, but already she and her mother have had to move twice. They're now living rough with dozens of others at the entrance of Beirut's Blue Mosque. "I'm only giving him ginger to eat," she tells us. "No one is helping me with much milk to feed him." Her friend Sabaya, who has 2 children, including 5-month-old Amira, has similar worries. It's a huge challenge trying to care for them. Everything's difficult, Sabaya told us. Renting a house, finding milk, nappies, just living. Families and the young are the most vulnerable, with no shelter and no end in sight to it all, yet growing up believing their fate and future is firmly linked to Palestine and Gaza. Alex Crawford, Sky News in Beirut.
Well, the Pope today warned that Israel's airstrikes risk going beyond morality. The pontiff said that defence must always be proportionate to the attack and that countries must not go over the top. Well, the Israeli military says it has repeatedly issued warnings to those in Lebanon to evacuate specific areas around Beirut before conducting airstrikes. It says certain neighbourhoods near the city, specifically Burj al-Barajneh and Hadat, were Hezbollah strongholds containing weapons and ammunition. Now the Israeli Defence Forces are ordering everyone in the Bekaa Valley to the east of Beirut, as well as those in the south of the country, below the cities of Sidon and Cheba, to also urgently evacuate their homes. It comes as more troops are deployed along that southern border as a buffer zone that was once hoped would ensure a ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel appears to be a staging post for a possible invasion. Well, let's speak to our security and defence editor, Deborah Haynes. She joins us live from Haifa in northern Israel. Good to see you, Deborah. And no sign tonight that Israel has any intention of letting up on its strikes into Lebanon.
quite the opposite, and it's not just strikes into Lebanon, as we've seen with this massive barrage of airstrikes that the Israeli Air Force, with more than a dozen aircraft, conducted today. And to give you a sense of the sort of the geography, the target is over 1,000 miles away. So they flew their jets over towards Yemen and then unleashed this barrage of bombardments, targeting what they said were linked to Houthi militants who have been firing missiles in their direction. It really underlines how this conflict is being fought on multiple fronts, and also the concerns that there could be an escalation that leads to all-out war. Just tonight, the Iranian president has released a statement saying that Israel must not be allowed to target groups that